What hospital did you work at?
The very first hospital I worked at is called Saratoga Hospital, and that's in Detroit, Michigan. Um, and it's a small community hospital off of 7 Mile and Gratiot area.
How did you find out about that hospital?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was born in that hospital, but the way I got the job, my first job in the hospital, was as a student in respiratory care. I was in my second year, and I already did some of my internships at other hospitals, but this was one where I could work on the weekends. So um, the professor at the college indicated that there are some openings at certain hospitals in the area, and that was one of them. So I went there, I applied for it, and I got it, and started to work weekends.
Did you work at any other hospitals?
Okay, after I worked at Saratoga Hospital, I got a job at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit. Um, and I worked there for a few years. Um, as a respiratory therapist, I worked on a variety of patients, mostly trauma patients. People who came in, was hit by a car, was stabbed, was shot. Um, Anybody who had respiratory problems, along with heart defects, heart problems. So, worked there for a couple of years. After that, I went to Children's Hospital and became the director of the department.
What kept you in the medical field?
Well, I enjoy it. I enjoy helping people. I enjoyed taking care of patients, um, seeing that a person could come into the hospital feeling, having all sorts of ailments, and being able to help them get through it and see that they go home.
What hospital did you enjoy the most?
I stayed at Children's Hospital the longest. I was there for like 32 years, and I enjoyed it tremendously. There were a lot of great opportunities, and a lot of times you'd see very sick children come in, and yet you were able to take care of them and see them happily go home. Sometimes it was difficult because some of the kids didn't make it, but it was very rewarding.
What was the environment like there?
Both Henry Ford Hospital and Children's Hospital was in Detroit. Um, the surrounding neighborhood for the medical centers was real nice, but just outside of that, it was there's a lot of poverty, and you have a variety and a diversification of patients that came into the hospital. They not only came in from the surrounding Detroit area, but also from the suburbs, because Children's Hospital is very well known for taking care of all sorts of kids. So,
How many lives have you saved?
well, you go through each day, and there may be a patient or two that you're part of the team that saves patients. Um, there may be days that a couple of the patients don't make it, but it's almost on a daily basis that you're saving lives. As a respiratory therapist, you're part of the team along with the nurse and the doctor, and between the team, we save hundreds of patients, thousands.
What made you want to leave the medical field?
Well, I retired. I was fortunate. I retired early. I was in my 50s, and wanted to enjoy traveling and doing other things. So comes a time when you're finally done with working, and I was fortunate to retire when I was 55. So
Did you work in the medical field with Robert?
I worked with Robert from approximately February until June.
What was he like in the medical field?
Well, when I worked in the hospital with him, he was always very knowledgeable. He gave great patient care. He was conscientious, gentle, and he continued that throughout his career And those are the same qualities that I think he demonstrates in his everyday life.
Nice.